I want to ask you something on the new government, where they've hinted they may introduce a deposit passport system, allowing deposits to move from property to property as tenants move. Could you see this work?
Well, it's not a new idea, as you probably know, Lee. I mean, this
Yes.
was originally proposed by Boris Johnson in one of his manifestos years ago, and it had been discussed previously with the government about how we could make this sort of solution work. Because it sounds like a good idea, doesn't it?
It
It
does.
sounds like you're moving from one property to another property, and can't your deposit follow you? Because what tends to happen at the moment is that, you're still in the property, you found a new property, you've got to put a deposit down for that new property, but you haven't yet had your early one repaid. So it sounds like a great idea, this idea that you could simply take your deposit with you.
Yes.
The trouble is that, quite often there are deductions made from the first deposit. So if you're a landlord and you're holding
Yes.
the deposit, and then your tenant says, "Look, I'm moving to another property, do you mind releasing that deposit and let me put it on the next one?" What's the landlord going to say? They're going to say, "Hang on, I've got to make sure that you haven't left any
Yes.
damage, that you haven't, you've not got rent arrears." So it fundamentally falls down because there's always a risk there's going to be a shortfall on a deposit that has been transferred to the new landlord. Now, it could work if somebody was prepared to guarantee that if there was a loss in the deposit, it could be made up, like the government could guarantee that. So we did suggest that maybe the government would like to sort of help make this work by guaranteeing that if the first landlord made a loss on that deposit passport, that they would make it up. Well, they weren't interested in that. We've spoken to lenders in the past about deposit loans. So if somebody's moving, could they get a low interest deposit loan? Now, when interests were almost 0.25%, well, no, 1.1%, were they? That might have been workable, but when interest rates are at 5-6%, just that's not an affordable product.
No.
So I think it's a great idea, but it's been looked at by us, it's been looked at by the other deposit schemes. Government have had consultants in looking at how it could work. I think it's another example of a soundbite that sounds good, but it's really difficult to do. I mean, one other option, for example, could be that you say to a landlord, you can't take a deposit until 6 months into the tenancy, because by that time, the tenant who's moving out hopefully would have got their deposit back. But I think landlords want a deposit. They want it from day one, don't they? Because they feel it's part of the security they get about a new tenant coming in. So again, that option isn't really workable. So it's a problem. I think if there was an easy solution, it would have been found by now.